Hackers don't break into some accounts and steal data and crack passwords.
Two men stole nearly $14,000 worth of gas. They're accused of hacking into a gas pump at a Citgo.
Hackers are not criminals. Real hackers call these people crackers because they crack things, and real hackers want nothing to do with them. Hackers build things, crackers break them. If that sounds new to you, let me introduce you to the fascinating world of hackers and their culture.
There it is again, that funny feeling, that funny feeling. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Wait, I don't know what a text is.
Fasten your seatbelts because this is going to be a ride and a half. The hacker culture is a subculture of individuals who enjoy the intellectual challenge of creatively overcoming the limitations of things to achieve novel and clever outcomes. I said things because hacking doesn't only refer to technology. Hackers usually focus on technology, but it's not a necessity. So that's a definition, but at the core of this culture is hacker attitude, their mindset, their thinking process. The hacker mindset can be described as following. Get ready because this is big. As a hacker, you learn not to take things for what people say that they are, but you look at things for what they actually are. Think about it. It's like, yeah, I understand that you tell me what it is, but what is it actually? What does it do under the hood after, you scrap all the paint, the other layers, all the masks that people wear? It's like hackers aim to understand the world as deeply as possible. They go through life overloaded with information and they figure out what really matters. Every information that gets to them goes through a big filter. As Steve Jobs said, innovation is not about saying yes to everything. It's about saying no to all but the most crucial features. I would go even further and say that the whole life is about saying no to everything except the things that really matter. Prioritization is everything. It's like this guy who looked at this toy and he was kind of suspicious of the most obvious information that it's just a toy, and he kind of dug deeper. Okay, so it's a toy. That's fair. For children. Makes sense. Is it though? Just a toy. Let me see.
Some hackers out there found that it actually has a pretty cool chip inside.
Oh, it can transmit signals at a wide range of frequencies. So I could use it to open a garage. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Am I getting to acting? Honestly, I can do anything.
There it goes.
Nice.
He's got one. He's got two. Very nice.
So he basically took the toy and he was like, look what I made it do. Look what is possible. And that's just an example of a device, but you can apply it to any discipline in life. Like music. I wrote a song, like imaginary song. Look at the wordplay. Look at the language, how I play with that. That's crispy. Thus, hacking means playing with things in the spirit of playfulness and exploration. It's not that important what is being done, but rather how it's being done. Playful cleverness is my favorite, simplest, accurate description of hacking. Now let's see what this guy had to say about hacking in an interview. I don't really know the guy, I just made some research. And first the question. Last month, Aeon published a piece entitled The Hacker Hacked, saying that nowadays we call a hacker anyone who codes. What does the term mean in your opinion? Being a programmer doesn't mean being a hacker. It means appreciating playful cleverness. I mean, he meant that being a hacker means appreciating playful cleverness, because the construction is kind of weird here. Now, you can program without being playfully clever, and you can be playfully clever in other fields without programming. For instance, there's a beautiful piece of music by Ingram Marshall, who's a great composer. It's called My End is My Beginning. The music in itself is a palindrome, so it reads forwards the same as backwards. The score and the words are about being a palindrome, so this music is a joke, but it also sounds good. This is a true hack. I mean, I found the song and it's called In My Beginning is My End, not My End is My Beginning, and it has no lyrics, and it doesn't start the same way it ends. So this guy made some stuff up, or I'm doing something wrong, but you get the point. If that was true, that would be a true hack. So coming back to the topic, playful cleverness. This mindset will become even more important now in an oncoming AI era, because the ability to approach problems in the right way, to leverage the available tools, will become even more crucial. Education system failed us all badly. Anyway, the question for now is how to become a hacker. To become a hacker, you have to enter the hacker mindset that I described. But there are also 5 useful rules written by Eric Stephen Raymond. 5 rules that describe life of all hackers. The hacker attitude. Hackers solve problems and build things, and they believe in freedom and voluntary mutual help. To be accepted as a hacker, you have to behave as though you have this kind of attitude yourself. And to behave as though you have the attitude, you have to really believe the attitude. But if you think of cultivating hacker attitudes as just a way to gain acceptance in the culture, you'll miss the point. Becoming the kind of person who believes these things is important for you, for helping you learn and keeping you motivated. As with all creative arts, the most effective way to become a master is to imitate the mindset of masters, not just intellectually but emotionally as well. Or as the following modern Zen poem has it, to follow the master, look to the master, follow the master, walk with the master, see through the master, become the master. So if you want to become a hacker, repeat the following things until you believe them. 1. The world is full of fascinating problems waiting to be solved. Being a hacker is lots of fun, but it's kind of fun that takes a lot of effort. The effort takes motivation. Successful athletes get their motivation from a kind of physical delight in making their bodies perform, in pushing themselves past their own physical limits. Similarly, to be a hacker, you have to get a basic thrill for solving problems, sharpening your skills, and exercising your intelligence. If you aren't the kind of person that feels this way naturally, you need to become one in order to make it as a hacker. Otherwise, you'll find your hacking energy is sapped by distractions like sex, money, and social approval. You know, this rule is a foundation for everything else. The enjoyment from being pushed to the limit and accomplishing something really hard is kind of necessary to keep up in the long run. It really connects with the idea that Cal Newport wrote about deep work. Notifications off, you're going to another dimension to kind of hyper focus on the task, right? On an everyday basis, you think about, what to buy, groceries, food, something. But right now, you're like hyper focused. And you go for as long you physically and mentally can. Ideally, until the task is done. This is the work that really matters. This is the most effective work. Because multitasking is not really a thing with our small, weak, biological brains. So that enjoyment from solving hard, new problems is crucial here. Because hackers want to push the humanity forward. People in the past protested against development of cars because it's not the same as horses and they are loud and slow. Now, truck drivers don't really like the idea of developing autonomous vehicles because they will lose their jobs and something. Hackers are just pushing the humanity forward, solving problem after problem, eventually making our lives better. And it really feels good to push us forward and solve problems. 2. No problem should ever have to be solved twice. Creative brains are a valuable, limited resource. They shouldn't be wasted on reinventing the wheel when there are so many fascinating new problems waiting out there. To behave like a hacker, you have to believe that the thinking time of other hackers is precious. So much so that it's almost a moral duty for you to share information. To behave like a hacker, you have to believe that the thinking time of other hackers is precious. So much so that it's almost a moral duty for you to share information. Solve problems and then give the solutions away, just so other hackers can solve new problems instead of having to perpetually readdress old ones. Note, however, that no problem should ever have to be solved twice does not imply that you have to consider all existing solutions sacred, or that there is only one right solution to any given problem. Often, we learn a lot about the problem that we didn't know before by studying the first cut at a solution. It's okay and often necessary to decide that we can do better. What's not okay is artificial technical, legal, or institutional barriers, like closed source code, that prevent a good solution from being reused and force people to reinvent wheels. You don't have to believe that you're obligated to give all your creative product away, though the hackers that do are the ones that get the most respect from other hackers. It's consistent with hacker values to sell enough of it to keep you in food and rent in computers. It's fine to use your hacking skills to support a family or even get rich, as long as you don't forget your loyalty to your art and your fellow hackers while doing it. I really like this point. It's always nice to, understand the past and explore what's already been done, but hackers are here to shape the future. They focus on it, so they want to create new things. If it has already been done, hackers don't want to waste time. In an ideal world of hackers, I assume, patents would not exist. If you made something great, make everyone use it, show them how it's done, so that they can test it, improve the design, experiment, so we can go forward. I like this. Boredom and drudgery are evil. Hackers and creative people in general should never be bored or have to drudge at stupid, repetitive work, because when this happens, it means they aren't doing what only they can do: solve new problems. This wastefulness hurts everybody. Therefore, boredom and drudgery are not just unpleasant but actually evil. To behave like a hacker, you have to believe this enough to want to automate away the boring bits as much as possible, not just for yourself but for everybody else, especially other hackers. There's one apparent exception to this. Hackers will sometimes do things that may seem repetitive or boring to an observer as a mind-clearing exercise, or in order to acquire a skill or have some particular kind of experience you can't get otherwise. But this is by choice. Nobody who can think should ever be forced into a situation that bores them. I like these rules way too much. I'm currently at my 6th semester of university, and every semester, we have at least one class, often more, where we have to write reports. And it makes some sense because they want to teach us how to make good reports and good documentation. Okay, so it makes some sense, but it's been 6 semesters already. I make good reports. I could be a Microsoft Word tutor. I think I'm pretty good. I'm satisfied with my skills. Can I focus on learning and writing code and not write code for 3 hours and then 3 hours spent on a report? And nobody cares about these reports because the tasks are not novel. I just write reports for the sake of it. And I could spend all these hours actually learning how to program better or sleeping, and it would still be more productive. 4. Freedom is good. Hackers are naturally anti-authoritarian. Anyone who can give you orders can stop you from solving whatever problem you're being fascinated by. And, given the way authoritarian minds work, will generally find some appallingly stupid reason to do so. So, the authoritarian attitude has to be fought wherever you find it, lest it smother you and other hackers. This isn't the same as fighting all authority. Children need to be guided and criminals restrained. A hacker may agree to accept some kind of authority in order to get something he wants more than the time he spends following orders. But that's a limited, conscious bargain. The kind of personal surrender authoritarians want is not an offer. An example of a good trade offer would be a relationship where you kind of sacrifice some of your freedom for the benefits, whatever they are. Authoritarians thrive on censorship and secrecy, and they distrust voluntary cooperation and information sharing. They only like cooperation that they control. So to behave like a hacker, you have to develop an instinctive hostility to censorship, secrecy, and the use of force of deception to compel responsible adults. And you have to be willing to act on that belief. And this is a big topic. Power games are a serious matter. People want to have authority over us just for the sake of it. They demand your respect. And even me, I'm not a hacker, I'm nowhere close, right? I'm like a hacker wannabe, an apprentice. But I still think that I will fight for this all my life. At university, most of my teachers are fine with calling them sir. You show them some respect, right? But there was this one guy who demanded way more respect than usual. Because this guy was like, okay, I know that pandemic kind of mixed things up, but don't call me sir. I'm a master of engineering. And I was just like, yeah, a master of engineering and a bad teacher in my opinion. So I don't respect you that much just because of the title. The title means nothing to me. I mean, I didn't say it to him, right? Because he had power over me. It's a lost cause anyway. But man, some of these people, with respect is a little bit like with attractiveness. If you're attractive, you don't walk up to people telling them, oh, by the way, I'm attractive. Can't you see? If you haven't noticed, I'm attractive. No, you don't have to tell them. If you're worthy of respect, I will respect you for your skills, for your attitude, for your achievements, right? You don't have to tell me, oh, I'm a master of engineering. I don't care. Okay, that was my small personal rant. But some of these people, and here I also wrote down to mention Gojo Satoru from Jujutsu Kaisen, because he's very one of the best written characters in my opinion. He's the embodiment of competence, strength, and this anti-authoritarian attitude, where he just respects whoever he wants to respect, because he's the strongest there, so he can do kind of whatever he wants. And in many ways, I really would like to be like him, and he resembled me of this hacker attitude.
自ら足手まといを連れてくるとは愚かだな。
大丈夫でしょ。だって君弱いもん。
何が言いたい？
わかんないか？あんたらがしょうもない地位や伝統のためにせき止めていた力の波がもうどうしようもなく大きくなって押し寄せてんだよ。牙を剥くのが僕だけだと思ってんなら痛い目見るよ、おじいちゃん。
少しおしゃべりが過ぎるの。
おお、怖っ。
やれやれ、最近の若者は敬語もろくに使えんのか。
花から敬う気がねえんだよ。最近の老人は主語がでかくて参るよ、ほんと。生徒の前なんでね、かっこつけさせてもらうよ。
It's such a well-written character. He has to cover his eyes because when he looks at people, he sees too much about them. To function properly, he has to cover his eyes. Anyway, 5. Attitude is no substitute for competence. To be a hacker, you have to develop some of these attitudes, but copying an attitude alone won't make you a hacker, any more than it will make you a champion athlete or a rockstar. Becoming a hacker will take intelligence, practice, dedication, and hard work. Therefore, you have to learn to distrust attitude and respect competence of every kind. Hackers won't let posers waste their time, but they'll worship competence, especially competence at hacking, but competence at anything is valued. Competence at demanding skills that few can master is especially good, and competence at demanding skills that involve mental acuteness, craft, and concentration is best. If you revere competence, you'll enjoy developing it in yourself. The hard work and dedication will become a kind of intense play rather than drudgery. That attitude is vital to becoming a hacker. If you revere competence, you'll enjoy developing it in yourself. Such a good sentence. Competence is what will earn you respect. Not a title, are you kidding me? And this is it. The whole guide, How to Become a Hacker, written by Raymond. It goes further into where to begin and how to gain respect from other hackers, how to gain points for style. So I highly encourage you to read the whole thing. It's linked in the description. I want to leave you with a final thought. Work as intensely as you play as intensely as you work. For true hackers, the boundaries between work, play, art, science, beauty tend to disappear, and they all merge together into a high-level creative playfulness. You know, I'm not sure if I fully understand all of it myself, but these are definitely rules to live by. Or at least I'm convinced and I strongly believe that that's the right way. You know, it feels like everything I've experienced so far in my life is nothing really novel, and it has already been put into words by others. And there's a whole culture based on that. I like it. Thank you guys for all the support. It's been incredible. And thanks for watching. A lot.